to the part of our agenda where we take comments from the public. As you've heard, we had to limit them to five speakers today, although we've had many speakers at each of the prior briefings. We would ask that each speaker hold their comments to 3 minutes out of respect for the others who would like to speak as well. I will introduce you in the order that you signed up here, and I will apologize in advance for any distortions in my pronunciation of your names. The first speaker is Aaron Osterly from the University of Michigan, and there are 2 microphones on either side. Aaron.
Thank you, Chairman Augustine. As you said, I'm studying at University of Michigan, and I look up there and I see a lot of gray hair and a lot of the older generation. No disrespect.
We would be lucky to have gray hair.
No, just yeah.
Hey, watch it.
Thank you for the compliment.
Do you plan to have a doctoral exam soon?
But but I think it's interesting that the person who will be making the final decision is younger than many of you, and in my generation, which will be paying for and either embracing with or dealing with the proposals that come out of the Augustine Commission. We will be the ones that have to face those decisions. And last week during Cocoa Beach, you guys or the Beyond Leo subgroup proposed making the big thing was make us a spacefaring society, and I was thrilled with that. But you can't promise that to my generation. We're not Apollo worshippers. I wish we were, but we're not. And so if you propose things that are out of budget, and you don't have a discernible, a granular, predictable, and measurable return on investment, it won't get funded. So I would ask you to not, don't promise more than you can honestly expect, and B, don't expect that we're going to get any sort of massive increase in funding. I would love to see it. I really would. But I'm a realist, and I don't see it happening for my generation. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next speaker, who will be Jeff Fitzsimmons from USAF Retired.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to make the comments today. I have a few recommendations for the committee, but I'm speaking just for myself. I'm retired military and semi-retired aerospace engineer. Here's my recommendations. Number 1, full utilization and use of the International Space Station should be the #1 priority for the human spaceflight. For the next 5 years, it will be our human spaceflight priority. It's the only affordable one in the current budget projections. It has the greatest near-term benefits and relevance to the American people, and it's achievable with modest investments in utilization funds. Recommendation number 2, $1.0 billion over the 10-year time frame. That's $100 million per year, specifically for ISS use and microgravity science missions. 3, extend the appropriations and commitment to ISS until 2020. Makes no sense to try to decommission the ISS in 2016 if we're going to fund something like COTS. 4, set up an independent organization to manage the ISS utilization, such as the Hubble Space Telescope Science Institute does. 5, reestablish Space Product Development Group and re-energize the commercial space centers to promote ISS use. 6, establish objective success criteria for microgravity science benefits. 7, use the ISS as a bridge to Mars, such as long-duration missions or variable gravity centrifuge. And 8, above all, name it. Let's name it something sexy. I propose something like the Isaac Asimov or the Arthur C. Clarke, or calling it Excelsior. In sum, it's the #1 priority because it's affordable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and has direct benefits to the American people. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see more people standing here than we had signed up, but I must apologize. We really are pressed for time today. So if you didn't sign up, we would ask that you communicate with us by our website which is
http://hsf.nasa.gov. I need a nickel every time I say that. I would not need to be employed anymore.
You got it. Thank you. So we'll continue with the people who have signed up, and that'll be all we'll be able to take this morning. The next is John Casanto from ITA.
I might, thank you. I'm going to give you 5 points relative to the return vehicle from Mars. There's a briefing that all the panel members should have that I've given to Mr. Philip McAllister, so you've got that someplace electronically. It's obvious that there's a strong support for a direct mission to Mars, bypass the moon. Buzz Aldrin has said that makes sense. Robert Zubrin has said that makes sense. If Mars is going to be the next national goal of this nation, we've got to make some changes. You want to get rid of, you want to scrap, you want to replace the CEV Earth entry configuration. Why do you want to do that? It's a low lift-to-drag ratio vehicle, and what it does, it severely limits the various Mars mission option scenarios. And again, the briefing I've given to Mr. McAllister has all the technical data. You can't do anything to the Apollo configuration, the CEV. You can't do anything to get the lift-to-drag ratio up. And the bottom line is there have been a couple of studies done that have shown that a mid-L over D vehicle, a lifting body, has enough lift-to-drag ratio to do all the foreseeable Mars missions. These kinds of configurations have been studied. They've been flight tested. It would seem to me the commission would want to look at this, take a real hard look at this, and don't just take what's left over from Orion and Constellation. Look at it and say, hey, is there a better way to do it? Why would we want to go to Mars and limit our mission options? And if you fly the Apollo configuration, you can't do all the missions. Finally, there was a reentry vehicle compendium study done 3-4 years ago. We looked at every configuration on planet Earth, everything. We got the aerodynamics, we looked at the trajectories, we got the shapes. So we know it's flown, we know it's there, we know it's easy and quick to do. You don't have to go redesigning and reinventing the wheel. And the bottom line is the study conclusively showed you go to a mid-L over D vehicle, and there's several configurations. It's in the briefing I've given them, McAllister. And these things have flown. You go to these things, you meet every Mars mission. Bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Cindy Martin Brenner
Yes,
from
hi.
the American Society of Gravitational and Space Biology.
Yes, it's a mouthful. I have another compelling reason to be very fast here. I have a 12-year-old daughter who's having her birthday, and she's waiting for Mom to get home to open her present, so this is going to be very quick. Betsy, Dr. Cantwell spoke earlier today about our research community, Life and Physical Sciences community. We are the group, we are the scientists who have done this research since Skylab. We would like the opportunity to do the research on the ISS. As Dr. Cantwell mentioned, that there is an opportunity to rebuild this community. In the package that I believe you're going to receive from NASA or possibly the Senate Commerce Subcommittee on Science and Space, there is a paper in there written by the community, the scientists, that talks about how to do this, how to rebuild it. And I just really want to call your attention to this and their support and information from ESA, ELGRA, and Japan in regards to this. So just want to bring us to your attention. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And our final speaker from the public comments section is Carrie Bean from Texas A&M.
Howdy. I'm
Good to have an Aggie here.
yeah. I've been really involved in outreach. I've worked on Spirit and Opportunity in Phoenix and eventually Curiosity in Hubble. And yes, I'm only a senior. And I've really fallen in love with outreach. I'm the one that runs the Facebook pages for the Mars rovers and for Phoenix. And now we've got twittering astronauts. And I think that's a really good way to reach out to the younger generation. Not only have I been able to really inspire kids about NASA, speaking to them through Facebook, but also the older people that are on Facebook and Twitter. And the younger kids, their parents let them onto Facebook to chat with the spacecraft. So I just wanted to make sure that there would be good outreach for the future.
Thank you very much for your comment. Those were all very good comments, and we appreciate them.